everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for coming to this video. I'm here with Grant, who I've met also last year at the UK Fruit Fest. And I'm with here now with him in the cabin and to ask him some questions about working out and sports in general and raw food diet or fruitarian diet. So he's been doing a lot of that fruitarian style stuff for a really long time, and he's also doing some runs, which I've heard is pretty long, and then I think he will be telling you about all of that. Can you shortly say who are you, where are you from, what's your age, if you want to share?
Sure. I'm Grant Campbell, also known as Raw Aussie Athlete. I'm from Australia and I am 45 years old.
Wow, wow, wow. It's a nice age.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool. So I've heard you've been running ultra marathons or something like that, like running really long distance. So what's that about?
So ultra marathon is anything longer than a marathon, so anything longer than 42 kilometers, but they tend to be 100 kilometers or 100 miles. But I've run more than 65 ultras now, up to 225 kilometers.
Wow.
35 hours, no sleep. In some races I've fallen asleep while running. It's pretty interesting sport.
Running asleep while running. Whoa, that sounds crazy.
Falling asleep, yeah.
Yeah, so you were on the floor just like...
No, I literally was running and then my eyes closed and I was still running and woke up again.
Whoa.
It's like a micro sleep, kind of, probably like, who knows, I was asleep so I don't know, but maybe 3 to 5 steps or something, and I was still just running exactly the same. Just kept running.
Oh,
running.
Wow.
I realized that because I had a headlamp on, right, and I'm watching the trail in front of me, and in the middle of the night, and I realized suddenly that I wasn't looking at anything anymore, and then my conscious mind suddenly realized I must have fallen asleep because there's no other reason why it was black in front of me. And so then I had a shot of adrenaline and it woke me up. And I was still running.
Oh, wow. So, wow, what a crazy story. Yeah, but that happens. Does it happen a lot with ultra runners?
Not a lot. No, I think people fall asleep a lot when they're walking, or if they stop and rest. You can fall asleep really fast. Just lie down on the ground, and it doesn't matter how uncomfortable the ground is, you just fall asleep straight away because you're so tired from sleep deprivation if you've been running for more than 24 hours. So,
yeah, I think for anyone, staying up 24 hours is a pretty long time.
Yeah, especially if you combine it with running for 24 hours.
Yeah, whoa, yeah. Well, everybody knows that I don't work out that much. Right. I'm not top athlete. I do my gyms. But, we're both on this fruitarian lifestyle. Yep. So what would you be, if you be training towards like a certain distance, what would you then eat in a normal, everyday meal? Would you have fruit only, or would you need your greens? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so if I'm just training leading up to races, just my normal life, because I like to always be race ready, so I don't peak and taper and all that sort of stuff. I eat roughly 3,500 calories a day, I would say. It's going to be, kind of juicy fruit in the first half of the day, and in the evening it'll be fruit with a big salad. So definitely leafy greens, not every day, but most days. If I'm not having leafy greens, then certainly other vegetables like cucumbers and like culinary vegetables, tomatoes, things like that. Things with more minerals than culinary fruits.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what is a culinary fruit?
Right. So
we're talking to Dutch people.
When some people say fruit, they may be referring to the botanical definition of fruit, which includes tomatoes and cucumbers and anything sort of with seeds that can grow into another plant. Whereas culinary means sort of how you use foods in the kitchen. So in the kitchen, we use a zucchini or courgette as a vegetable, and we spiralize it into noodles or whatever we want to do.
Yeah, we just had that.
Make delicious noodles from it, and that becomes part of a salad kind of meal or a vegetable-y kind of meal. And then, so for dinner, I'll have all the fruit I care for to get enough calories, and then follow that with all the salad I care for. And that, to me, that includes things I consider as vegetables, like the way we use them in the kitchen, like tomatoes, zucchini, cucumbers, and things like that.
Good, thanks for explaining. Yeah. So, your daily lifestyle with your food and your vegetables sounds pretty much like mine. I don't think that I have so many calories, but then I'm half a meter short. No, I'm like a whole meter short almost. And so you probably need a little bit more if you're working out. But I have people who do sports, and they ask me, but I'm really like weightlifting, and I really want to build muscle. And I tell them, but yeah, if you have all these issues, like if you have emotional pains, if you have physical pains and you need to repair, it's better to go like high food and detox. And they're like, yeah, but I think I'm weak. I like my olive oil, I like my hummus, you know, so they're gonna go on a little bit into the cooked vegan style, or they think maybe soaked oats or something like that. And I'm like, no, you can do that. So I'm very curious what you think about that. And yeah, if you've ever like done that. Well, obviously you haven't because you just explained, but so what do you think about, do we need to have all our greens, or can we have an occasionally oats? What do you want to say to those people who want to do build up muscle, or like running strength?
Yeah, I mean, the main point I feel like I'd make to that is that building strength comes from doing a workout that creates a demand for your body to build muscle, and then your body needs to build that muscle, which happens while you sleep. So if you're not getting enough sleep, then you're cutting short your ability to build more muscle. So if you do a great workout but don't then get 5 hours sleep, then you're not reaching your potential for muscle growth. There's abundant protein in plant foods, so as long as you're eating enough fruits and vegetables, you don't even have to think about protein. Like human breast milk has like 6 to 8% of calories coming from protein, and that's enough for a baby growing, and they're growing much faster than any adult is growing, like little bits of muscle at a time. Like it's not, we like to think we do all these powerful workouts and we're growing so much, but we're not growing any more than a baby or a teenager, and they don't need, you know, more than like the sort of 10% of their calories coming from protein. So it's more than enough for us.
Yeah, but breast milk has a lot of fat though. So do you do a lot of
breast milk has a lot of fat.
Do you have a lot of fat?
But babies, like, and babies need that for brain development and other needs. But then as humans wean off milk, like all the other mammals, they're basically decreasing their fat intake until, you know, maybe as a teenager, they're kind of down to more like what an adult would eat, which is lower protein. So
lower fat?
I've tried racing ultra marathons on avocados and things like that, and it just doesn't work out well. The worst result is when you combine the fruits with the fats, because then the fat and the sugars end up in your bloodstream together, and that creates blood sugar issues like type 2 diabetes would be an outcome if you did it all the time. Just means that the too much fat in your bloodstream doesn't allow the sugars to get taken out bloodstream by the insulin, so everything kind of just gets stuck in your blood, and that doesn't feel so good, and you can't race very well in that state. So to me, I want to have low fat, particularly around races, and I do eat avocados, I do eat overt fats, but not a lot of them, and not all the time, and certainly not before a race or during a race.
So you're like 1 day away from the race.
Yeah.
So this last day, would you like, okay, you build all your strength, you have your physical body ready. So what would you do the day before, like a really big run? Yeah,
well, I mean, you're saying a day, but like to me, it'd be like the 5 days leading up to a race. I would have a particular strategy, which is just to get as much sleep as I can. If I can get like 10 hours sleep every night for those 5 days, that makes all the difference in the world, because I'm starting the race with more nerve energy to spend on the race. Means I can get further before I feel sleep deprived, and so that's really important. And as far as eating, I'm just eating like normal, except I would avoid overt fats, and I just want to make sure that I eat enough calories from fruit leading up to the race, just so that when I get to the race, my muscle cells are full of glycogen, And there's no value in like carb loading, or I like to call it carb overloading, which is what most people do. They're eating just way more carbs than they ever need, and it just spills over into their urine, and a lot of it gets wasted, and you're just creating more work for your body to digest all this pasta, and a lot of it's high fat anyway because they're combining the pasta with animal products and other fatty foods.
Yeah. So and how about when you go into the race? I would be thinking, well, you're running, you need your food, or do you just fast, or are you just like, I just spoke to Harriet. She was apparently carrying a whole bag of bananas with her on the race.
Right.
So before I met you, I would think, yeah, you're going on the dry foods, right? Because it's concentrated and it will fit your pockets, or I don't know, maybe you have people giving you food. How does that work?
Yeah, so it really does depend on the race. Sometimes I race around like an Olympic track for 24 hours or longer, and every 400 meters I can get whatever food. I just have a chair on the side of the track and I can just grab. So in that scenario I would take fresh fruit. So fresh fruit is always like juicy fruit, like an ideal food is kind of mangoes is really good because you're getting enough calories and water content all in one. And I once raced in Thailand for a 24-hour race, which I just did on Thai coconuts, just drinking the water, none of the fat, just drinking the water. So about every 30 minutes I drank 26, more than every 30 minutes. So I drank 26 coconuts in a 24-hour race. That was the first time I did over 100 miles in 24 hours, which was cool.
Wow. So you would drink the coconut water and eat the...
No, I didn't touch the meat.
Because
the fat would work against.
That would be like a coconut water fast while running.
Yeah.
I think I would love that.
So it's really coconut feasting to me. Like, drinking coconuts is because you're getting not just sugar and water, but you're also getting electrolytes. A lot of electrolytes, more electrolytes, I think, than even
we really want
eating
those.
fruit. Like so, it's really perfect food. When I do longer races, like 100 miles or more, which is 162 kilometers or more, then I'll start eating not just fruit, but also like celery, which I can just stuff celery stalks into my running pants and run with it because they're so lightweight, it doesn't matter. And whenever I want to eat it, I just munch on it.
Okay.
But as far as dried fruit, I only do that if I'm doing a self-supported race where I have to run a very long way and I have to carry all my own food right from the start. Then, I can't carry watermelons, for example. Even though watermelon is also great.
You could do that, but make the running a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, so if you carry too much weight in an ultra marathon, you're not going to finish the race. So you have to be practical, and sometimes I have to go to dried fruit, even though I don't really like to. It's harder to digest, and you have to drink more water, and
so
and
you
it's
have
not
to
good for your teeth, and you have like all this dried fruit stuck in your teeth, and then you have to take a toothbrush to brush your teeth while you're racing. I don't know,
So I imagine you running there with all these celery sticks.
I'm never carrying more than like 2 celery stalks at a time.
Okay.
Just because I just don't need them very often. But I know when I race, like when I race less than 100 miles, I feel like I don't need celery for extra minerals, like the extra electrolytes, because I have salads most days and vegetables every day pretty much. So I feel like I don't need extra minerals to do like a short race.
Yeah.
But if it's 100 miles or more, then celery starts tasting really good. So that's why I think like you just need those extra minerals in it because it feels good and I perform better. So.
Well, yeah, if you perform better, feels good, tastes good, then I think you're really listening to the body. So, wow, that's amazing.
I try.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
Well, okay. Well, then you won the race. We assume you always run the race, right? And then what? You sleep.
Not always. Sometimes I finish a race and the first thing I do is eat. Other times I'll finish a race and I'll be really hungry, but I'm so tired that I'll sleep first and then eat.
Okay. And do you need to like do you have special food for recovery, or is it just the same program?
It's less important after a race because I've finished the race. So like anything that's good fruit that tastes juicy, something that's more watery is usually really nice after a race. That's light, like watermelon is usually perfect after a race. I can eat a lot of watermelon and just be really happy about it after a race.
Good. I love watermelon. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Favorite fruit?
Yes.
Ooh. I have a lot of favorite fruits. Fijian longans are pretty awesome. Durian's pretty incredible. Chomperdak's pretty incredible.
So we will have to go to Thailand.
Yeah. Come to my Thailand adventure retreats if you want.
Yeah, it's like on top of this list. It's next to visiting my friends in New Zealand, and yeah, so we'll be combining that.
Awesome.
Really cool. Well, Grant, I want to thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah.
Let's go for a run.